I've worked it out. I have discovered the real reason why Meghan Markle made that totally bizarre Instagram post overnight with new pictures of her sort of lying with her face covered, weird shots of the garden, of course, Harry and a very odd looking Archie with a football ball. Oh yeah, that's her. We're going to get to the outfit, don't worry. And the chopping of the onions and the dirty t-shirt. But I think what's important is first to tell you why. Why did we get these totally bizarre images that Meghan Markle is calling springing into summer? It's because she wants to overshadow her own husband. She cannot cope with the fact that for once, Prince Harry had received a good day of publicity, being named unbelievably as one of the top 100 influential people in sport by Time magazine. Meghan couldn't cope with it because she wasn't mentioned at all. So that's when the big photo drop came at the exact moment, too, where this delusional couple have made a public demand for their family to be able to see King Charles, but with the usual catch. So it's all going on today, and we're going to get into it all with royal YouTube sensation, according to Taz. That's a woman who is responsible for a lifestyle and food brand, probably for not much longer. As Tears and Tiaras put it, what in the hasn't got a clue is this? This woman has nothing left to give. She's posting anything and everything, even if it makes her look bad. Obviously, she's doing all the PR herself, and it shows. Scraping the bottom of the barrel. Now, Meghan, just stop. You look like an idiot. And when Harry's grey suit suggested that Z-lister Manic was demolishing that onion with her Z-lift knife skills, Tash countered, was Meghan drunk with her latest privacy photo dump? A child's body in a dirty t-shirt, Meghan lying on the ground in wrinkled trousers, a down the shirt shot to her navel. What is she trying to promote? But this clip, what the hell is she trying to do? That poor onion. But there has been a huge amount of reaction specifically to the photo of Lily, because if this really is a girl who is cared for so well, then why on earth has her mother decided to put her in a dirty t-shirt on the internet to try and get publicity from Beyonce? Meghan's mole, Duchess of Geeks, saying, I don't even know what to say about this one. The child is in a dirty shirt. I don't care if she made this drawing herself. And why does it look more like Megsy than Beyonce? But then Meghan's mole came in and said no mother would share an image of their daughter's chest to the masses of weirdos, pedophiles, and freaks online just to clap back at reports of Beyonce not being friends with Meghan. Creepy as if. Okay, so we know the reason why. According to Taz added, not many would choose a photo of their child looking unkempt and dirty to show the world. And then Hilltop Jennifer asked a whole load of questions. We'll certainly get to some of these today. What's with the strange cowboy pose? Is it because you just hopped off a horse, or are you telling us that you're open for business? Are you hiding your face because you've had more work done? Why did you feel the need to unbutton your shirt so much? And what possessed you to inflict another head-to-toe demon fashion crime on all of us? And then we come to the picture with Harry. And let's take a look at this because it's intriguing, isn't it? Was this a new picture? Are things back on track? Or is the photo stamp suggesting this was taken in 2017 correct? If so, why on earth are you sharing this with a summer photo dump for 2026? Harry, Meghan's spare, argued, scraping the bottom of the barrel with yet another ancient photo. We get it, Meg, you're separated. And Tash added, what a sweet, romantic moment to share, a very intimate and private moment for the couple, as the photographer is stood 3 feet behind them. So Tash, there is so much to pick up on here, so much weirdness going on. But I immediately, well, not immediately, actually, I had to speak to some people, but pretty quickly it became clear that the timing of this post was because Time magazine had just dropped their big interview with Harry, and she wasn't part of it. It was as if she didn't exist. And so what does she do? somehow get together a whole load of photos that she knew was going to steal the attention away. It's the flood the zone strategy. But when you're doing it to take away publicity from your own husband, there's certainly a more twisted aspect to it. That's before we even get to the to the pictures themselves, Tash.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Meghan's narcissism really does shine on through. So, of course, that's going to affect every aspect of her life. She's going to be that way with her children. That's why Meghan spends thousands and thousands and thousands on herself, her hair, her makeup. You know, this is a woman that, well, she obviously spends a lot of money. She does have terrible fashion choices. But then she allows her children to be presented to the world wearing their pajamas, wearing dirty t shirts and stuff. But for her to be competing against Harry, she's always been after Harry's attention. That's why she hangs on to him like a limpet, why she attaches herself to him like a koala bear. You know, there is a constant need to touch Harry. And people at first said, oh, look, that's sweet. And then people started seeing, oh, she's actually controlling him. She's getting him to move in different directions. She's getting him to move out of the way. But also, it puts the attention back on her. No matter who she is with, her friend Kelly, who recently gave birth to a baby, Kelly McKee-Zafin, when she was there collecting an award at a charity that she started, Meghan draped herself over Kelly, you know, to the point Kelly had to move her head out of the way. I remember talking to you about it. Meghan has to be the star and she has to be the center. And she does not like Harry having any attention without her. And for her, this was the best an almost desperate attempt to get attention. And of course, it does give her attention, but those choices of photographs, well, there is certainly a lot to unpack there.
There is. And Tash, do we think it is an old picture with Harry?
Yeah.
Is it from 26? So why on earth do you
Yeah.
put it in a summer dump for 2026? That's not even how Instagram works. I mean, it's
showing
not
that
like a
type of
throwback.
No, I think it's more like an ownership. He's still mine. It's very
Mm,
much I don't think Harry is quite so happy to pose for
we
photos
were
like
happy
that
once.
anymore. This is when they were building up the collection, weren't they? Behind the scenes for Megxit, for Netflix, for anyone that would be willing to buy the stuff. Let's not forget that these two have been planning this, I would say, even before the wedding. So this is part of the big payload that Meghan obviously got, because also, which worries me, at the top of that photo, not only does it say 2017, it actually says that she's got another 30,000 odd in the bank. Oh, Dan, have we got to go through another 30,000 of these drunken drops? I mean, I don't know if she was drunk, but the images that she chose were just so bizarre. It was so random. It was literally like she was just going eeny, meeny, miny, mo, or someone accidentally posted her deleted box. But yeah, really strange combination of photographs to have been posted.
Yeah, well, someone also said to me, Tash, and I'm just going to say what they said, that the picture of Harry and the football with Archie came just hours after I had recorded my after show yesterday with Angela Levin talking about how Harry had been snubbed from the Football World Cup because of the row with David Beckham. Just saying, maybe a total coincidence,
Maybe.
but certainly there seems to be an attempt to kind of take ownership of football as well, even though we're
Oh,
hearing
yeah.
he hasn't really been invited, certainly at this stage, to any of the big FIFA events.
Yeah, but I mean, you saw Dan, who's been listed as a sports personality
Oh,
in
God.
Time magazine, you know?
We're going to come to that. Trust me, we're going to come to that because it is a total cringe moment. But before we get there, the onions, Tash,
Oh,
seriously.
don't.
Okay, now I will admit, everyone who knows me, Tash, knows I am a terrible cook. That is honestly how I cook onions. So weirdly, how I cut onions. So weirdly, I have some sympathy for her. But like, I'm the worst cook or chef in the world. I admit that. This is
You're
someone
not
who
on
believes
Netflix.
that she's the boss of a global lifestyle brand.
Yeah, the onions did get me. It was absolute butchery and it triggered something in me. Apparently, I've got an issue when things are not cut to the same size. I didn't even know it existed in me, but I was like, they're not going to cook evenly. And it really did like agitate me. But I mean, I cheat. I've got a ninja chopper where you just throw everything in and pull a string and it chops it all perfectly for you. But I mean,
Oh,
I'm
I
not a
need one of
chef.
them.
I can cook. I can cook. But this is This is the whole board is what upset a lot of people. She's got raw meat on a wooden board, chopping onions. She's got so much crap around her. She's using a knife and doing that weird thing where she holds it with her finger. I mean, it's an accident waiting to happen. But 1 minute she's chopping the onion and then she's trying to shave it with the knife. You're like, she's already done crimes against scones, Dan. This is crimes against onions. We're going to have to seriously start a joint lawsuit to stop this woman from uploading videos of her in the kitchen. It honestly, what is she up to? Yeah.
Give it up. Give it up indeed. And then we come to the article which I think Harry wanted people to take note of. And I'm not actually talking about the Time magazine, but rather this leak to the New York Post. And again, that's why I think Meghan's Instagram dump was so badly timed, unless she was actually trying to piss all over her husband. Because this is another public attempt, Tash, at negotiation with the British royal family via the media. It's not going to work, but you posted on this highly suspicious just days before Trooping the Colour, which is, of course, on Saturday. Harry has now decided he wants his family back and has regrets. Sorry, I call bullshit. More likely he's getting desperate, as his emotional blackmail using his children hasn't worked and daddy still isn't picking up the calls. And that was certainly the vibe that I got from this New York Post article. There it is, authored by Sarah Nathan, their British editor at large, clearly briefed Tash, clearly briefed out of Montecito. So I want to get to it and then I'll let you analyze. But I think it is worth just looking at because this was a coded article. But in my view, it's yet another public threat to King Charles. So Nathan writes, Prince Harry hopes to bring Meghan Markle and kids to the UK in weeks, but still won't see one family member, his estranged brother, Prince William, sources told Page Six. Harry is set to arrive in July to promote his Invictus Games, which will be held in Birmingham next year, and he desperately wants to bring his family over to see his father, King Charles. However, the prince's security fight with his homeland's government is still not fully resolved, we're told. Despite his hopes, the UK Home Office would finally sign off on taxpayer-funded armed security for his wife and children. As multiple sources have told us, Harry is keen to reconcile with the royal family. He was still persona non grata, however, at his cousin Peter Philip's wedding to Harriet Spurling this past weekend. Harry was not invited to the celebration, we have confirmed, while William was joined by wife Kate Middleton, and King Charles and Queen Camilla also attended, as did Princess Beatrice and pregnant Princess Eugenie. While Harry would love to bring Markle, Archie and Lily back to his homeland, sources stress that no firm plans have been made and matters are first focused on the Invictus event. Harry is set to attend a 1 year to go countdown celebration for the Games scheduled for July 10 to 17, 2027. There have been reports the prince does not have his brother's phone number. However, we're told this is nonsense. So that's just an interesting little aside, but regular viewers will know that's Team Harry and Meghan clapping back at Dan Wakeford, who used to be their sort of major propagandist at People magazine and Us Weekly and has now turned on them because he's independent. But Sarah Nathan added, but he has not seen William since the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II in September 22. William, sources said, remains furious over Harry's tell-all memoir, Spare. And this would be her first time back, Meghan's first time back since the Queen's funeral. Archie was just an infant when he left the UK for a new life in California. Both children had barely met their grandfather. Harry has pleaded for armed protection. Yes, we know all of that. And in January, the Daily Mail cited government sources saying his security would be approved. But Harry and his lawyers have yet to have an update from the Home Office, sources confirmed. We have reached out to Sussex reps for comment. Well, they're speaking to you behind the scenes. That's just something media do if they're trying to make it look as if the source of the article is not the people who are being written about. With or without his family, as of yet, there is no agreed time for Harry to meet with his dad, we're told. Although we're told that Harry believes his father could overrule the government on the issue, sources previously told us it was not a matter for Charles and his courtiers. So Tash, he's just never going to learn. It's like publicly trying to jump the British government, which ironically is pretty sympathetic to Prince Harry, and his father, ironically pretty sympathetic to Prince Harry, into a deal ain't going to work. And what I take away from that is that Harry's calls are still not being returned. Charles is still playing hard to get. and Harry is basically begging. It's sad, but it's a situation he created. What did you make of it all?
Of course it is. And even that part that you just read out where it said that there, people have said that Harry doesn't have his brother's number, but we have been told that's nonsense. Well, you could have only been told that's nonsense by someone from Camp Sussex, which means Harry is still going to the media. We know that, but it makes it all the more obvious for the courtiers and members of the royal family. They are never going to lower the drawbridge as long as Harry is constantly going to these media outlets and he is clearly, obviously giving them information, having conversations. We know with People magazine when they accidentally on purpose perhaps outed him saying that he contacted them directly. This person, the only people that would know that Harry does in fact have his brother's number, is coming from them. So, of course, the royals are never going to trust him, and as rightly so, because it's clearly obvious that Harry is getting more desperate. So we had obviously the run up to the wedding, didn't we? Peter and Harriet's wedding. We had all of the stories about Harry and Meghan might go. Then that was shut down. Harry and Meghan were not invited. Oh, but Harry and Meghan skipped the wedding. No, they didn't skip it. They were not invited. Then you had, well, Harry wouldn't go anyway because he's upset about something that happened at Peter's first wedding. You must have seen all of this. It was just constantly trying to make this wedding about Harry and Meghan. And then we get Peter's called Harry. Then we get Harry understands that Peter has to cut him out because of evil Prince William, because Prince William's a bully. So all of the time this is going on, it's very clearly obvious. Now, some of it is made up, but some of it is definitely coming from Harry's camp. And it's always making him to be a victim and Prince William to be the aggressor. And the royals have just had enough of them. They have cut them off. So Harry is trying all different tactics. And as I said, I stand by what I said. I think this is because he knows the Invictus Games is coming up. He needs a little bit of royal glitter, whether it's in the form of his auntie, the Princess Royal, whether it's in the form of lesser members of the royal family. He needs the royals there to get the Invictus that little bit of a boost because I believe he uses it as his final cash cow. And the royals are done playing these games. But Harry only has himself to blame because he will not stop going to the media himself, which in itself is just absolutely hypocritical.
Well, of course, because we have an interview in Time magazine. This is the one that Meghan decided to take the attention away from. Hilariously, Tash. Somehow he's talked his way into being the 100 most influential people in sport. And I think he got this because he agreed to give an interview to Time magazine. And look, it's not a great interview, actually. We'll go through it. He's talking about Invictus, and he says, it was so clear to me, let's invite as many countries as possible to make it international because clearly more countries need to benefit from this. He said that sport held him together. I was one of those kids at school who did not enjoy classroom work. So he's talking about after his mother's death. If it wasn't for the sports field and the amount of sports that were on offer, there's no way I would have stayed in school. He says that he's hoping to keep growing the Invictus Games and make it a 2-week event rather than one. That's a mistake because right now you're going to be lucky for it to go for even 1 week. And he says, one thing that we really celebrate at Invictus is not only do we change lives, but we save lives as well. That's not based on anything other than the amount of individuals that come up to me and say, if it wasn't for Invictus, I would have killed myself. So obviously he loves talking about suicide, doesn't he, Tash? Do you know what I mean? All the time. He says to be amongst that community, those are the moments that I treasure. You wish that every society, every community had the same vibe about it. But the key thing is no mention of his wife at all.
Yeah, that is rather telling, isn't it? But do you know, just to quickly mention, I had someone contact me to do with the Invictus Games a while back, and obviously, I don't know about the credibility of this, but it's a very interesting point. And they said that they contacted the Invictus Game to ask for help because they were struggling with a living situation, and the Invictus Foundation gave them a list of numbers of other charities to go to. So outside of actually playing the sports in the events, with Harry continuously talking about the mental health support and the anti-suicide prevention and everything else that the Invictus Games does, there is a potential there that they're just handing out numbers for other accredited agencies and companies because Better Up, which I think is just a bunch of nonsense. I think it's life coaching rather than actually offering, the sort of counselling that these people do need that have got serious mental health issues. And it's funny to see that, the fact that Harry is constantly praising the Invictus Games as saving lives, but they could be potentially just moving them on to other organizations. And this is the whole thing with the Invictus. It's become a bit of a farce. People don't trust it anymore. People do not trust the fact that Harry gets a job at Better Up and then Better Up come on board at the Invictus Games. People believe that Harry has financially benefited from that. And again, the waters are getting very muddied with every trip that they do when they go abroad. You know, we've had Colombia, we've had Australia, we've had Nigeria, and it all seems to center around the Invictus Games features there, and Ukraine as well. And I personally believe that Harry is having part of his lifestyle funded by the Invictus Games. And people are beginning to be more aware of the fact that foundations aren't necessarily helping the people that they should do. And you yourself have reported on the Invictus Games as well about the fact that people are walking away from it. Veterans are walking away from it. Sponsorships are walking away from it. And it's hardly surprising, really.
No, exactly. It really isn't. Tash, an update on the story that we discussed yesterday, first broken by Paula Frolic Uncensored. And this is about the odd similarities between Meghan Markle's As Ever and Danya Guta's Little Olives. It's so weird, isn't it? Anyway,
It is weird.
There's an update which Paula Frolic has reported. She revealed right after I posted an article about the airy likeness of Meghan Markle's Montecito-based As Ever to San Francisco-based children's clothing brand Little Olives. They have now removed the dress from the Little Olives site. Paula says it's not known if either image was created by AI, and she notes Markle claims the pic of Lily is not. If the child on the right is a model who just happens to be Lily's doppelganger, or if Lily has done some modelling. But why, she asked, was the picture page of the buttercream bloom dress removed? If it's not Lily, then why does Guta care? If it is Lily, wouldn't there be a modelling contract in place? And if it's AI, well, I'd have to get a lawyer to explain that. But the fact remains, it's all creepy as hell. Both women have beige, pseudo-Tuscan-inspired sites that sell ridiculously priced merch to us peasants, and both have heavy reliance on AI for their pictures. Both use bullshit words like quiet, whisper, slow, soft, blah, 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 blah. At this point, I say for people who have kids, let them be loud, screaming fast. Children, at this point, it's practically punk rock, which is what this AI generation needs. But Tash, what do you think's really going on here?
I don't think Lily's got a modelling contract. I don't believe that that little model is Lily. I think, if anything, there's probably a closer chance that that little girl was used to portray Lily. I mean, you have to admit the side profile in that picture is rather similar. But then if people are tweaking with AI, they do put out similar style faces, similar characteristics. And I am becoming highly suspicious about Harry's sudden turnaround with showing the children continuously. And the pictures always seem off. They don't just seem contrived and set up. There's just always something. They seem completely photoshopped. There are just weird oddities. There are just things that are not right about it. And I'm beginning to wonder if the deal was with Harry and Meghan, and while they're so at odds about not showing your children on the internet, that he does allow Meghan to use images of the children, but only after they have been edited by AI. Archie, it's too late for Archie. They already put too many images out of him, as we know, with Netflix, you know, so literally served him up on a silver platter, as it were, despite saying that about the royal family. But Lily, there's just too many inconsistencies. And this with, you know, that little girl, it could just be an AI tweak, because it would make sense the reasons why Harry suddenly is okay with the children being used all of the time. But then, as I said, the photographs of the children always just look off. There's just something different. And it could be their way of going, oh, we're being super smart here. You know, we're editing the images of the children so you don't actually get to see their real face. And it could explain why something is never quite right with the photos.
Intriguing. Very, very
just a theory.
Odd. But again, this is the issue, isn't it? If you're going to be so weird with your daughter and, you know,
they're creating that little girl to become a target.
Exactly.
They're creating her to become a target.
This is all their fault, regardless of what the truth about these actual pictures are. They are the ones who have created this total madness.
Meghan Markle just had a very public meltdown. And the most damaging part? Harry didn't even mention her name. Welcome back. I'm Taz. And today we are diving deep into the latest chaos coming out of the Sussex camp. Because when Meghan Markle doesn't get the spotlight she craves, she doesn't suffer in silence. She posts. She performs. She manufactures a narrative. And today, that narrative is unraveling faster than even she can spin it. Let's start with what clearly set this whole thing off. Harry gave an interview, and Meghan was essentially a ghost in it. No glowing mentions. No, my incredible wife. Nothing. Just Harry, talking, existing in public without making her the center of the universe for once. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is apparently enough to send Meghan Markle spiraling. Because here's the thing about Meghan. She has spent years carefully constructing a double act. The Sussex brand only works if Harry is visibly, publicly, almost desperately devoted to her at all times. The moment he speaks without orbiting her, the entire illusion cracks. People start asking questions. People start noticing. So what does Meghan do when she feels herself slipping out of frame? She grabs the camera herself. Enter the strategically timed photo of Harry and Archie. Now on the surface, this looks like a sweet family moment. And that's exactly what it's designed to look like. But let's not be naive here. Nothing Meghan posts is accidental. Every image, every caption, every carefully chosen filter is a calculated move in a much larger PR chess game. This photo wasn't posted out of love. It was posted out of panic. Think about it. Harry gives an interview where Meghan barely registers, and within a very short window, there's a new photo flooding the timeline reminding everyone, I exist. I control this narrative. Harry is mine. Archie is mine. Look at my family. This is what I call a digital tantrum dressed up as content. She couldn't cope with being invisible for even a moment, so she made herself visible on her own terms. And then, because the Sussex playbook never changes, we get to the latest round of demands to see King Charles. The fake royals are at it again. Fresh public demands. Fresh appeals to the cameras. Fresh performances of wounded children who just want their family back. But here's the catch, and there's always a catch with these two. The conditions attached to any reconciliation are so loaded, so self-serving, and so transparently about optics rather than genuine healing, that the palace would be absolutely foolish to take the bait. King Charles is not well. He is fighting for his life. And yet somehow, every time the Sussexes reach out, it comes bundled with what essentially amounts to, give us rehabilitation, give us recognition, give us the royal validation we walked away from, and then we'll show up. That's not reconciliation. That's a negotiation. And the British public can see it. The palace can see it. The whole world can see it. Except apparently Meghan, who still believes this performance lands as genuine. What we're watching right now is a Sussex operation in genuine distress. The deals are drying up. The cultural relevance is fading. The Netflix money won't last forever. And Harry, whether consciously or not, is beginning to exist in public spaces in ways that don't automatically route back through Meghan. That terrifies her. Because Meghan Markle did not blow up her royal life, estrange herself from the institution, and drag Harry across the Atlantic just to become a supporting character in her own story. She came to America to be a star. And right now, the audience is losing interest. So here's what I want you to sit with today. If Harry is already giving interviews where Meghan barely exists, if he's already carving out spaces that are just his, then what happens to the Sussex brand when Harry stops needing it altogether? Because the one thing Meghan never prepared for was Harry finding himself without her permission. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is this the beginning of the end? Or is Meghan already 3 steps ahead planning her next move? Because knowing her, she always has a plan. I'm Taz. Subscribe, stay royal, and I'll see you in the next one.